Right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the Keepin It Reel podcast. If you've been listening for the last year, we've been doing this. Of course, you know we talk exclusively movies, TV, all that kind of stuff. But we're mixing it up a bit now. I think we're all getting a bit bored of that format. So we just want to get on here, shoot the shit for an hour, and just talk about whatever's going on. So I'm your host, James, joined by Jack Austin.
Hello.
Very, very energetic for the first episode, Jack. Calvin Starr. Oh. Right. Fuck me. Right, Reese, come on. Bring us home.
Hello.
There we go.
I'm going for the audio intro thing. You know, it's like, hello.
Jack, you can't twist in your chair on camera, right?
Yeah, but you have a wall.
Yeah, we don't want any twisting, pen tapping.
Yeah, but some people are still going to listen to this on a streaming service. They're not going to be able to hear your fucking nod. I just going to think you just didn't reply.
Spotify does have video now, so we're not only going to be gracing the people of YouTube with our lovely mugs, but also the Spotify listeners. Spotify has video, yeah. Tried it out last week.
We are in the future.
The future is now.
The future is here.
So basically, the gist of this podcast is we're all going to bring a topic. If we get to every topic, that's great. If we don't, even better, because it just means the conversation is going to flow.
Imagine we'll meander a bit.
As always, as we usually do. Does anyone got a good kicking off point for us?
I had Reese does.
Well, I just got questions, man. I wanted to ask really stupid questions.
Ask us a stupid question then, Reese.
I've got a list. What's the sexiest and least sexiest name?
All right. Okay.
Least sexy is like Mildred.
No, Keith.
Okay, we do both then. Do like what's the least sexiest man's name and the least sexiest woman's name?
Okay.
We've got Mildred and Keith.
Well, we're going to be really alienating the Mildreds and the Keiths, if there are any Mildreds and Keiths listening to the podcast.
Apologies in advance if you have any of these names.
We don't mean it all the way.
Your parents must have hated you.
I feel like with this like format, there's going to be a lot of just us going,
yeah, of course.
Well, I think we've got all the M's out of the way for the podcast now.
What's like so like all the non-sexy man names are like Keith, Paul.
I was thinking Paul, yeah.
Paul's not a sexy name.
Rod.
That's. Yeah.
I mean,
Rod. What's Rod?
It's got connotations, but yeah.
Just Rodney.
I thought Calvin said Adolf.
He did say Adolf.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Was that a popular name back then?
I have no idea.
It's not anymore, definitely.
It's definitely not anymore, no.
I don't think so, no.
What was his woman's name? His girlfriend?
His woman?
His lady Nancy.
They weren't married, were they? What was her name?
How long has this video been going on for? We're already talking about it.
Is it in it? Is it Eva Braun?
Oh yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, no, that's all right. The first.
That's kind of a hot name. No,
even though she was probably an absolute monster.
Speaking completely superficially here, it's kind of a hot name, Eva. A least sexy name. Somehow I've just started thinking of the cow from Magic Roundabout, Ermintrude. That's definitely not a sexy name.
What's
the
name?
I've Ermintrude, but I've never actually met anyone called that.
It's just all the old names, isn't it? Like Agatha.
Gretchen. Absolutely horrific.
What's a sexy name then? What are the sexy names?
Xerxes.
Sexy.
Emperor Shaddam IV.
Polonius.
Gets me going. I think Olivia is kind of a sexy name. It's just the right amount of consonants, you know.
That's what you look for. The name.
I always look for a good ratio of consonants to vowels.
Speaking of Olivia, how wild is it that Olivia
Fantastic. Fantastic. You didn't
even
look
at that. Oh. Look at that. That Olivia Wilde got served on stage.
Is there video of this? I don't think there is. But
There should be because
There's
isn't
there's
CinemaCon
pictures.
I
There's
think
pictures of the
CinemaCon's
Live.
pretty like closed off. That's why we don't really get a lot of
Saying-
photos sent out.
Saying she got served is like she was in a dance off.
Jason Sudeikis came on stage,
Yeah.
broke down a bit.
just popped and locked and then just threw it at her and left.
like because she got the papers and then she didn't have to open them. Because do they do like they do in the films? Do they go, "Oh, you've been served," or they just give the papers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but,
that's-
Imagine
That's
she was.
brutal.
People
I
queue
imagine-
two and two
you.
together.
I imagine she knew what it was. You know,
well, if someone just hands you a brown envelope from the crowd, my instinct would be like, "Oh, what the fuck's this?" Like, I don't know. I just
You're not getting divorced,
probably
Jack.
open it.
yeah, you're not in the middle of a very
wouldn't
public
open it.
divorce.
I've seen that.
I suppose so.
I was actually very curious today if her and Harry Styles are still together, and they apparently are. I bet Harry Styles fucks, to be fair. And all respect to Ted Lasso, he
Harry
seems like a great
Styles.
guy. But
Works.
Harry Styles fucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Not
reckon
really, but
he do you reckon like ranking One Direction?
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm saying him, then Zayn. Zayn.
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah, Zayn.
I think
1P
Leah. I
bucks.
think.
Which
Niall's
one's
at
the blonde
bottom.
one?
Niall. Niall's the
Niall.
bottom.
Niall doesn't fuck.
He's at
No,
the bottom.
no, not no. Liam
I think
doesn't.
Liam.
Liam or
Liam's
Louis
probably
don't.
playing with that interesting accent he's got though.
Liam did get Cheryl Cole, though.
Yeah,
To
but
be
I, don't
fair,
think
you
that's-
know,
I think
yeah,
she's probably an idiot. So I don't know.
Who's the
Does
other
that
one?
mean
There's
anything?
the
Might
other
be
one.
listening,
Who's the other
Jack.
Yeah, there's Liam, then Louis, then
one? Louis.
then
Oh yeah,
Niall.
Louis doesn't fuck. What? Louis doesn't do anything.
Can't believe this is
No.
a film podcast.
Not anymore.
We're branching
what's
out.
You mean you
Yeah,
call
yeah.
keeping it real?
We're
Wait,
appealing
Harry
to
Styles
a
is in-
wider or-
We are
Harry
keeping it
Styles is in
real.
movies.
Yeah, Harry
Yeah,
Styles
fair
has
enough.
been in. Harry Styles has been in a film.
Yeah,
He's in another one coming up.
Dunkirk, in it.
Yeah.
In there for about 5 minutes.
I actually can't wait for Olivia Wilde's new movie. I think that's going to be really good. Not only because it's Florence Pugh, but we were all fans of Booksmart, weren't we?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spiritual successor to Superbad, I thought, just nailed it. What I
I
wanted
think
to-
it wasn't as good as Superbad though.
Oh,
No.
nothing is.
No.
That,
Yeah,
that
it
might
wasn't
be
good
my
as
favorite
Nothing
comedy of
is.
all time. Nothing is as good as Superbad. I could watch that every single day. Right. Oh, have we done all the sexy names?
We didn't
Yeah,
agree
I
on a
can't
sexy
believe
name.
that was the
Yeah.
first thing that got brought up.
If we get stuck later, come back.
What,
and I'll ask
What?
another
There was
stupid
Olivia and
question.
Xerxes. We've established it.
That's a power
you-
couple if I've ever fucking
Or-
heard it.
Alejandro. Any male Spanish name apart from
Yeah. I don't think Joaquin.
Horatio.
Joaquin is
Juan.
very sexy.
Joaquin.
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 Alejandro. Bernardo.
Don't call my name. Don't call my
So
name.
early in, Jack's already doing the bloody accents.
You can't stop him.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah. So what is that? Is that the thing, Reese? If we get stuck, we go to you for
Yeah.
another stupid
I got a
question.
list here. If you get stuck, come to me with some stupid questions.
Lovely.
Right. Here's something that I always tend to bring up.
Okay.
It's modern film franchises doing it till it's dead. Does anyone hate this at the moment? I know Jack will disagree because he lives for any franchise he enjoys, which is fine.
I was thinking about
the
this
main
earlier.
the main culprit is obviously Disney, what they're doing with Star Wars and sort of the MCU. And I'm so conflicted on the MCU because I don't look forward to the films anymore. No, I'm not excited for the films anymore, but I look forward to them. And I feel like the quality of film overall is getting better. But for some reason, I have this love-hate relationship with them.
It's the
where I don't
frequency
even
of them.
care. Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying this last week because we've all been watching Moon Knight, haven't we? I think it's such a good show. But it is
Episode
big.
5 is good.
I thought episode 4 was incredible as well. I started rewatching it as well last night. Just can't wait for Wednesday. Because we're getting a movie every 4 months, and then we've also got a TV show in between that, and that takes up 6 weeks. It is just taking away the specialness of what these used to be. Like, remember when that first Avengers movie came out, and it was the only Marvel movie coming out that year. and I'd never been so excited
shit, yeah.
in my life. And now we're
part
getting...
of the fun is waiting. You know, it's
Yeah.
like when there wasn't a Star Wars film for 10 years, and then when The Force Awakens was about to come out, there was like a buzz, a collective, you know, buzz. Everyone wanted to see it. Everyone was excited. Everyone was at the midnight showings, the premieres, and we just don't really get that anymore for some reason. I think maybe Endgame was like the last thing I remember having like a reaction, because it was like a culmination.
That's sort of inherently what
everything.
Endgame sort of was. But if it was just another entry in the MCU, obviously we wouldn't have been as excited. But like we're seeing Doctor Strange this week, and I am excited because you know, not sure exactly what we're going to see in it. But I think if we hadn't had a Marvel movie in a year, I'd be you know, giddy. But
then Thor is literally out in 2 months. Like, this Thor film, if there's a 2-year gap between the Doctor Strange film and the Thor film, I'd be excited for both of them. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'll probably enjoy it. But just because of the gap, and it doesn't give you that time to breathe and get excited for the next thing, and you can't be excited because they just keep giving it to you. And I don't know. I don't know. Same with Star Wars. Like, it will never have that weight between different sort of eras now. It'll just constantly be, here's a TV show, here's another TV show. All these alleged directors get picking up their own films, and I don't even know where the Star Wars films are going anymore. Like, so many different directors are attached to different projects. And then you had something like Boba Fett, where, this is really a spoiler, but like,
it's been out for months.
It felt so disjointed, and wasn't even like, it felt like they weren't even like confident in the story they were trying to tell. They just wanted it to be a stopover gap between the Mandalorian. Yeah. So it was like they couldn't even wait an entire year, or they believe audiences won't be interested in it in an entire year. When it's Star Wars, it's always going to sell to people, no matter how long it takes, because it's proven in the past that people have waited like 10, like, in the first case, between the prequels and the sequels, what was it, like 25 years or something? So I don't see why...
prequels and sequels was 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the originals and the prequels.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, yeah. So that was like a huge gap. And it just feels like these big studios, especially Disney, don't really have faith in their audiences anymore. They think they're going to lose interest if they don't immediately release something. Like, I just think something like the Boba Fett show is the prime example. There's something that just doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, well, it's the thinking of, we need to always be trending on Twitter. We always need to be in there somewhere. And that's why, because obviously the big thing used to be, when you drop a TV show, you put all the episodes out and then people could binge it, because that was the big trend at the time. But now they've figured out, if they release it week by week, they're going to own Twitter for 6 weeks. And then by the time that's finished, you've got another movie coming out, and that'll take up 2 weeks. And then another TV show's coming out, and it just keeps going and going. And yeah, I know what you mean. It's taken away what makes them so exciting. But that being said, I'm watching every single fucking one, and I'm liking most of them. So
yeah, I don't know if
I'm part of the problem.
I started to get... Oh, go on, Reese.
Like, I get where Calvin's coming from, that there's too much Marvel and you know, Disney stuff in general. But I love them. I look forward to all of them. But I do kind of agree that there are certain franchises out there who should have stopped a long time ago.
Go on then, Reese. Name one.
Well, the main culprit will always be Fast and Furious.
I knew you
had about 3
bastard.
films and stopped. Jurassic Park didn't need those new films. They add nothing to the originals. They do nothing to advance the story. And I just think, and like franchises, like making more films and rehashing and remaking them, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Scream, and they just, I don't understand why there's always a need to like leave it for a while and then go, I'll just bring it back. Like, are there no new ideas in Hollywood? Are they?
Because there's already that built-in fan base, so you can at least rely on some profit, some returns.
Yeah, but they're always shit.
I think it's part of the problem.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the newest one, is one of the worst films I've seen. Not just horror films. It was awful.
Reese has brought this movie up so many times in this podcast now, I feel.
It's really pissed me off.
It's been months, Reese. Can't get over it.
Can't get over it.
I think part of the problem is that if you notice, the main culprit is definitely Star Wars, and I would say the Fantastic Beasts series, and these new Jurassic World films, where it doesn't feel like studios have enough confidence to plan the entire story. They seem to write and script each script for each film, so it doesn't have any sort of. It doesn't feel like it's an entire arc. Like it just feels like each film is one person's vision, so it doesn't feel in its entirety. Like, the original Star Wars trilogy has 3 different directors, but it's all overseen by George Lucas, and it's probably the same model that someone like Kevin Feige does with the MCU. It all feels cohesive in like one big arc. But then obviously the biggest offender in recent memory is obviously the Star Wars sequels, where it just feels like an absolute mess.
Yeah, well, Star Wars does have Kathleen Kennedy sort of overseeing it, but that franchise is the worst, I think, perpetrator of this crime, because they did. You can tell in Force Awakens, there clearly isn't a plan of where it's going. JJ's laying seeds, and it's like, so we'll pick it up and take it, and then they didn't like where they took it, so he came back and he changed it. Yeah, and I was so burned out after that last Star Wars movie. It soured me on the whole franchise in general. Until recently, when I know Jack's been playing it. Have you had a chance to play Lego Star Wars, Calvin?
No, I haven't played it yet. I've been playing too much Elden Ring, and I feel like it's just going to be such a stark.
How many hours have you put into that game now?
Maybe about 70.
Good Lord.
Jesus Christ.
Dedication.
Yeah, Lego Star Wars, it's weirdly the one thing that they've put out in the past few years that has sort of reinvigorated my love for this franchise. And I can't wait to pick it back up.
I've spent probably a similar amount of time to Calv on Elden Ring on Lego Star Wars, and it's just fucking ridiculous. Like I didn't know I could have so much fun just dragging around a fucking huge Jabba the Hutt Lego doll across Tatooine, just fucking it and stuff, just like collecting money. I'm just like, this is just stupid. But why am I'm a 28-year-old man. I'm having the time of my life.
I was going through episode 1. Oh, go on, Rhys.
I actually watched New Hope yesterday. I was like, I'll check it on. I thought those original films are still just so good.
Perfect.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Well, Return of the Jedi, less so, but
New Hope, like for a first film in a franchise.
I can't imagine being a kid when that movie came out.
Oh, I know. How amazing would it have been? Because just like the scope of it and the size of it is it's huge, isn't it? Like they already, I think, started building something so big.
Yeah.
First, I feel like I don't know if you get that as much anymore.
I don't know. When we were younger, we got
this.
When we were younger, I suppose we had Lord of the Rings, which was another cornerstone of.
Yeah.
I think Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, we had that. And they're still going, aren't they?
At least Lord of the Rings.
Anyone
to stop.
What anyone's? Well, that's what I'm about to bring up. What's everyone's thoughts on the rings of the rings, the rings of power?
The rings of the rings of the rings of the rings of power. There are too many rings in that title. I don't know why they did just like Middle Earth Rings of Power.
I know, like a lot of people are mixed on the trailer. There's obviously a corner of the internet that are focusing on the wrong things in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think, I don't know, it just doesn't look that great. I know it's hard to judge something off a teaser trailer, but it doesn't look like the most expensive show ever made, because that's what it is. I was just going to ask, it is the most expensive, isn't it? It's got some dodgy trailer. It's got some dodgy CGI, but what's worse is they don't actually have the rights to Tolkien's works. They have I think they might have the rights to the appendices. So what they're doing, they've got these characters and these events, but then they're filling in the gaps, and they're covering obviously like Sauron's rise and the fall of Numenor. But my issue with it is that event and the falling of like a civilization takes hundreds of years. and they're trying to condense it into like, I don't know how many seasons they're planning, but is it just going to feel really weird? And to be honest, the trailer reminded me more of The Hobbit than the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm worried about. And that they don't actually, they're sort of doing what sort of they did with the Hobbit films and taking the general skeleton of the story or the events even, and then placing the new characters and a new story within that.
Okay.
And I just don't know if it's going to feel I don't know if it's going to make me feel the way watching Lord of the Rings makes me feel, and that's what I'm worried about. I don't know if it's going to have. I could be completely wrong, but I'm just going off that teaser. What does everyone else think?
I'm excited for it. I thought the trailer was cool, but I do get what you mean. It reminded me way more of The Hobbit than it did Lord of the Rings, because it has that weird sort of CGI sheen over it that The Hobbit had, and it looked like, it didn't feel tangible. It felt very digital and smooth, and nothing felt real. And I'm not a big fan of those movies.
Yeah,
Oh, go on, Reese. Oh, here we go. No, I'm going.
Jack, you go.
I'm fucking going. I only watched the trailer once because I'm starting to get to the point now with these kinds of things, kind of like touching back on what Cal was saying earlier about all these franchises. I hate how much stuff is put out about each movie and each TV show now coming out, like all these different trailers, all these different like TV spots and stuff. Because I think it just ruins it. And then you get people on the internet who like dissect everything, and like, like there could be a fucking gust of wind in the trailer, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is what this means." I'm like, shut up. But I'm not I'm feel like for this show I'm less excited than I should be. Like when they first like announced it, I was absolutely buzzing, and then after watching the trailer, I'm kind of just like, oh, like it's just not. I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel this way about Marvel or Star Wars, like, because I feel like they could give me fucking anything and I'd eat it up. But like with like this Lord of the Rings show, I feel like there is too much of a good thing. Like those 3 films are perfect. Like there's nothing to change about them, and I would be happy if they just like if all they had was those 3 films and nothing else. But I mean, when something is so absurd, like when it makes like so much money and so absurdly popular, then they were always going to do something like this, weren't they?
Yes.
I think I don't think I'm as excited as like a lot of other people are, because I don't really have like the love for Lord of the Rings that lots of people from our generation did. Like I like
Sacrilege.
But like they are great films, but I'm not like, like I know people who like really like them, and my own flatmate used to love them. But I'm just like, yeah, they're good. I watch them every now and again. But so I saw the trailer for this new one, and yeah, it looked to me kind of like almost like Final Fantasy-esque graphics.
Mm.
I was like, that's not what I expect from. It's $1 billion show, right? Was that their budget?
$500 million, I think. I can't remember the
Is
exact number.
Is it just for the season? Just for this one season?
Yeah. So I think they wanted to like build from the ground up. So they wanted to make season 1 the most. Usually a show starts off small, then the last season is the most expensive. They want to make the first season the most expensive, so they could sort of build everything and get everything they needed to sort of like progress, which makes sense. But then it looks like they built nothing in the trailer, because like everything just seems to be this shit. But then I think I've lost faith in it a little bit with Amazon, especially because I don't think you guys watched it, but the Wheel of Time show was pretty poor, and it just didn't seem to have. It was just a mess, and it was written really poorly. And
I still haven't watched the finale.
I think that's just maybe. Oh, that last episode is atrocious.
Yeah, I think you told me that, and then it just put me off even bothering.
But I think I don't know if it was Amazon just sort of being more focused on the Lord of the Rings show, because obviously it's Wheel of Time is like huge within like fantasy communities, but it's not quite the IP that Lord of the Rings is. So I don't know if they were just focusing on that, but I don't know. Just what I've seen of Amazon's attempts so far at adapting sort of these grand fantasy stories hasn't been that great.
I just checked. It is $465 million for the first season.
It's one of those things where like I hope they haven't like skimped out on things early on in the season just so they can like use all that money for like, you know, like some huge battle. Like spend all the money on that. Like I'd rather that everything look good up until.
Well, I mean, that is a lot of money. So if they spent all of that on a finale, then good Lord, what the fuck is going to happen? So it should sort of be evenly spread.
Yeah,
I imagine.
for that much money, I want a fucking orc to crawl out my TV and start battering me.
I think even the people attached to it got me a bit like, don't know about this sort of thing, because you know, got J.A. Bayona, who I don't know if any of us sort of rate as a director.
I like a couple of his things.
Yeah, but I don't know. For some reason,
Did he do that second Jurassic World movie?
He did.
That's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I tried watching that. I tried watching it last night, Fallen Kingdom, and I got 5 minutes in, and I was immediately out, just asleep.
I rarely want to leave a film if I'm in the cinema and I've taken my time to go watch it. But about 20 minutes in, I was so close. If I wasn't with someone, I would have been like, "Oh, fuck this, I'm going." When like the Brontosaurus is at the edge of the island, just going like, I was like, "Oh, shut up."
It's a Brachiosaurus.
Or whatever he was. I don't know.
One show, it's weird because one show I am looking forward to, and Jack, out of all people, knows how much this TV show burnt me in the end because we can't even talk about it, is I'm really looking forward to House of the Dragon. I thought that looked great.
Yeah.
The cast for that is amazing. Like Matt Smith as a Targaryen. She looks so good. And the story, they're like the piece of history they've taken from George R. R. Martin's Fire and Blood book is like the best part of the entire book. But the only thing I'm skeptical of is I hope they don't make it really fast-paced and action-packed straight off the bat, because I think that's where the Game of Thrones show sort of lost its way. Okay. It became a story that it never was. So I hope this one takes more of a slow burn and goes into all the politics, because the period this is covering is called the Dance of Dragons, and there's a lot of infighting between the Targaryens, and there's obviously quite a few more dragons than just the 3 we see in Game of Thrones. So I'm wondering how they're going to sort of do that, like keep it on this epic scale, but also make it feel like more politically driven and character driven, because I think that's where Game of Thrones towards the last few seasons really faltered. Yeah.
Do we know who's sort of the showrunner for House of the Dragon?
Oh yeah, I don't think it's that great. I think I can't remember his name, but I think he was involved in like that Hercules film with
Ryan J. Condal. He wrote Hercules. Yeah. He wrote Rampage.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's not a good track record.
I know. But there's a lot of other people who did really good stuff on Game of Thrones who were involved in it. And David and Dan, whatever their name are, aren't involved, which is great.
So what I'm hearing is that The Rock is going to be in.
Yeah, they're definitely going to
He's going to be a dragon.
He's doing the mocap for all of the dragons.
He's going to punch the dragon in the face.
Balerion, the Black Dread, played by The Rock.
I don't know what that means.
It's the biggest dragon.
I've only seen one episode of Game of Thrones.
Give him a huge blonde wig.
So...
Well,
only watched one episode.
I've seen one.
You can watch the first 4 seasons, Reese, and you'll enjoy that.
Well, that's the thing.
Watch all of them.
When I'm really far behind on things, like to wait till they're finished and then I watch them. And then Game of Thrones finished, and everyone was like, "Well, it was shit." So now I don't want to watch it. There's a lot of time to invest. To then
read the books, man.
I'm definitely not going to do that.
Get an audiobook.
I might do that.
They're like 50 hours each.
Jesus. I don't want to invest my time in the books because he's going to die before he finishes them. So I don't want to.
Nah, he gave an update the other day, actually, about Winter. He said it was going to be
really long.
How's it coming along, George? It's big.
Yeah, can you imagine he finally releases it? It's like 250 pages after however long he's fucking waited.
Talking about
it all up.
I'd still drop everything to read it as well.
Yeah. Talking about recent watching TV shows, he's just started Breaking Bad, which I found so hard to believe.
Yeah, I found it hard to believe as well.
It's one of those things I've wanted to watch for ages, but I always get distracted by other things.
How far are you in now?
I'm not very far in. I'm watching it with Kaz, and she's really
Got
bad at
distracted
watching.
for almost 10 years.
She's yeah, she's really bad at watching things, like binge watching. So I think we're like 4 episodes in.
Oh, right.
And the first season's so slow as
But I'm
well.
rewatching Peep Show for the 4th time.
Jesus. No, it's power through Breaking Bad. I think.
Power through Peep Show.
Yeah, but he's already seen it 3 times.
I know, but it's worth it. Watch it more.
I love Peep Show.
I've still never seen it. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
it's-
I've seen bits, but
It makes me feel physically sick. It makes me
It's
so uncomfortable.
British.
you're not selling that to me.
No, it's just so uncomfortable and cringy.
Yeah,
it's just so funny.
Yeah. I love it when they do the you just it's like
Can't do that.
Oh god,
it's so
If anyone's-
it's so awkward.
I hate it so much.
Jack, I'm very
Yeah,
conflicted on how you feel about this TV show.
It's because it's so funny, but it's so like the episode where they accidentally kill that dog. Like that is the worst.
Oh my god, yeah.
And they fucking barbecue it.
barbecue.
It's
I watched
so
that one. I watched that one
uncomfortable.
like the other day actually.
And he's like, "Come on,
What's
Mark,
it called, like mummy?
have some delicious turkey."
Oh, man.
Oh,
I watched the one where yesterday where Darby first comes into it.
is it when he
under the
like?
storage cupboard and she's
Oh,
like
Like Captain Corrigan's
awkwardly-
flying without a
she's, like,
license.
awkwardly like pressing up against him, and he just jizzes in his pants. And he's walking around with like a damp patch on his trousers.
I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it.
Oh, it's so painful.
Oh, it is painful.
Reese, have you got another question for us?
This is relevant because
Okay.
like this is a movie podcast. What part of a kid's movie completely scarred you when you were younger?
Oh, I've got one. The kid being forced to eat the cake in Matilda
Bruce Bogtrotter.
I've
terrified
also-
me for years. I don't know
I've
why
also
I did.
never seen Matilda. That's a big. Like my girlfriend can never believe I've not seen.
But
it.
you got distracted again.
No, I just not that kind of film.
He was rewatching Peep Show for the second time, and that
even
came
as a
out.
kid, I looked at it and went, "It's not for me."
Not for me.
What about Rugrats Go to Paris, where Chucky's on the plane?
I can't remember that movie at all.
That's where he sees his dead mum in the clouds.
Yeah.
You know what terrified
That's
me?
quite a deep moment.
Jesus.
in like
The
that's like a proper kids film as well. You know?
Yeah.
Did any of you
The
watch
first Rugrats movie where they're in like the jungle or whatever, and then Tommy
What,
like
is
shouts
that-
at Dill.
Is that the Wild Thornberries? Like
Oh, it might
No,
be-
it's just the Rugrats
No,
movie.
it's just the first one, just the first
Oh.
Rugrats movie.
Yeah.
Like it's when Dill's born and Tommy like shouts at him in the jungle when it's like raining, and he's like, "You're not my brother," and I wept in the cinema.
Yeah, the Rugrats know how to do it,
Wet.
man.
Yeah, I didn't even watch
It's deep stuff.
Return to Oz. Have you watched that? The second Wizard of Oz film.
No.
Yeah, I think I have. But I can't
Those
really
things on
remember
the wheels, they're like minions for the bad guy.
it. Oh,
They'd
I
like
can't
roll up.
remember.
There's a bit in that scene where she goes into like a room, and there's just loads of heads, because like the main villain can like take off her head and put another head on, and that is terrifying as a child. But as a child, I was scared of everything. I remember I went to see it. I went to a Star Wars like exhibit in the museum up in Edinburgh when I visited my family up there. And there was a room, and it was a really dark, and it was just Darth Vader in there,
Mm.
and like it was just his breathing. And I like poked my head in. I was like, "Nah, I'm too scared." Like, ran off.
I've got another good one. It's Pinocchio, isn't it? Where they go to the island and like with the donkey boys.
Oh yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
Fuck. I think
Yeah, that was
I think I've
awful.
only seen Pinocchio once because it did genuinely scar me.
Yeah, that was fucking awful. I hated that. I mean, I'm still the same now, but when I was a kid watching films, I was a big pussy. The first Harry Potter film, when Voldemort's face was on the back of Quirrell's head, I couldn't
Yeah.
watch it.
Oh, that's
I
and
literally
when he
felt
comes
sick.
out and he's like screaming as he's like
Mm.
coming towards him.
Get the
Right, you can watch it
stone!
now, Jack.
And like, this isn't film related, but this is something that scarred me when I was younger. You remember the walking in the air song
Yeah.
Snowman.
with like the boy and the snowman? That boy's voice used to make me cry.
Why?
Because he's just so haunting. He's like, I'm walking in It's fucking horrible. Like it used to come on TV for like maybe like a John Lewis out of it, and I had to leave the room.
Just run out.
Yeah, because I couldn't.
Did any of you watch James and the Giant Peach as a kid?
Yeah, I was just looking at that one now.
The rhino cloud.
Yeah,
that's scary.
Oh,
Is that the stop motion film?
Yeah, that's I actually really like that film.
It's really good. Yeah.
it is good. Yeah, but terrifying.
Yeah,
I agree.
that was such a scary moment.
Did anyone like have specific moments in movies where you're like, I'm not going to leave, but I need somebody here with me while this is on?
It didn't happen to me, but I went to see Zootopia with my baby cousin.
Okay.
I know the bit where like the tiger or something goes a bit mad because of like the thing that's happening.
Uh-huh.
I went to see that, and my
So
baby
vague.
cousin.
Don't want to spoil Zootopia for anyone.
No,
I haven't actually seen it.
I just generally don't remember what it is that happens. But she started like crying. She's like crying her eyes out. I'm trying to like stop her from crying, but I also don't want to leave the cinema because I'm enjoying the film.
Mm.
So I'm
Yeah,
just there trying to like.
It's fine. It's just an animated tiger.
It's all right.
It's funny, but do you know what put me off watching Zootopia?
Go on.
Is it that I couldn't be bothered to watch the scene with the sloth?
Oh, that made me.
Oh, yeah,
itch.
It's hilarious.
They already
it's
like
too
released a bit of it, and I was just like, I can't watch that.
It's 10 minutes long.
Infuriated.
That's my type of humor, though. If it's a bit funny and then they drag it out, it just gets funnier.
It's like it's different because in like Family Guy, when like the bit where he's trying to pick up the frog and like throw it out
hilarious.
The window, that's hilarious because it stops at like the right time. But like the sloth thing, I was literally I thought I was hallucinating. I was like, this thing's so long.
I mean, you've got the Willy Wonka tunnel scene.
Tunnel scene, yes.
That's pretty.
Yeah, but they're on the move there, so. Oh no, that's not long. That's intense. You mean?
No, I mean,
how does that make it less scary?
And you've got like Watership Down and that as well when the rabbits.
Oh yeah, I hated
the first Spider-Man movie. Anytime Willem Dafoe talked to himself in the mirror or the mask spoke to him, I had to get my mum in the room and just be like, just wait here for 2 minutes.
There's another story about me being an absolute wimp as a kid. I went to see Spider-Man. And I ran out of the cinema when the spider bit Peter. I knew it was coming. I know that's the plot. I was deathly scared of spiders as a kid. Spider bit Peter. I was like, nah, I'm out.
How old were you when in 2002?
Too old to be running out of a cinema.
Reese, how old are you now?
I was born in '96. When did that come out?
I was 2002, so you're 6.
Yeah, 6. That's not too bad.
I was 9, but I was still afraid of Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe was also pretty scary. Yeah,
it's terrifying, and I'm hoping Sam Raimi brings a bit of that horror flair to Doctor Strange.
I loved that quote that he said recently where he was like, I was given complete creative control in the realm of being allowed within the law. I was like, what? So you were given complete creative control?
Half creative control, maybe.
That's so funny.
I don't know. I'm excited for Doctor Strange, but I'm a bit hesitant to.
I saw their TV spot like spoiled more stuff.
Yeah. They always do this.
They do.
About 3 days before release,
now.
They'll put about 4 TV spots out and they'll spoil everything.
When does the review? Is there a review embargo on that? Like,
I think the press has seen it tonight. And I imagine reviews in the next couple of days. It's out on Thursday, isn't it? So yeah, we won't have to wait that long. But yeah, it's because it's short. It's one of the shorter Marvel movies as well.
Yeah,
and it seems like there's a lot to pack into it. So I'm worried that it's all going to be cameos and multiverses and not enough of the stuff that matters, stuff that we're going to remember in down the line. I kind
of feel that they juggle too many characters in each of the films now. Like each film is his own little team of
it. Yeah, every film needs to be a little
like
crossover.
Avengers. Yeah, like they keep chucking new side characters in, and it just seems in this that he's got like a little team together again, and it's just like, is every film basically going to be an Avengers level film now?
It's what makes the most money. That's
yeah. Well, they're introducing as well. Like they're obviously at some point going to do this Young Avengers because they've got that. What's her name? The girl.
America Chavez.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah,
like
they've
all
already
these like
got-
shows and films that keep like
Yeah.
introducing these like younger ones because they're obviously going to branch out at some point.
'cause
What
they've
does she do
recast,
again? Does she punch? Does she punch through
She
realities?
punches portals
Yeah.
into different universes.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine that is what
Doctor Strange
kickstarted-
already has portals.
Yeah, within this realm.
Yeah,
But he
this-
needs his little ring, otherwise it's not going to
What would you do if you had
she's basically a
Doctor
taxi.
Strange's portal power?
If I had a sling ring?
What do you think if you could use Doctor Strange's portal power? What do you think you'd use it for? 'Cause
Really,
no one
really
would use it.
boring shit.
No one would
Really
use it
boring
to
day-to-day
save
shit.
the
stuff.
world. No one
Just
would.
go into the
I'd
shop.
use like turn off light switches.
I'd shout.
Yeah, when
I'd
you're in
shout
bed.
portal
More
power
controls are too
every
fun.
time.
My mate's answer was the funniest answer I've ever had. I think I've told you about this, Porter. He said if he had Doctor Strange's portal power, he would use it to shit in other people's pants. And
That works.
if that's not the weirdest supervillain
because his
you've
because his,
ever heard of.
that wouldn't. How would that work? Because his ass would have to appear in someone's trousers. How would that work?
I'm sure he'd find a way.
I wouldn't pay for anything ever again.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
no.
like the
yeah.
scene in the first one where he's like grabbing like books from the library. That'd be me, but from like the shelves of like Tesco.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be.
So we'd
doing
we'd
anything.
all turn into petty criminals then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think if
There's
I
no
had,
risk.
I think if I had any power.
there's no risk because I'd literally be like, you create a portal.
Unless
And then you
someone like
stole-
quickly, unless like someone who works there just quickly sees your face through the portal.
Well, yeah, but then I'd be like, okay, so you
just,
open a portal,
just sitting
and
in your
stole-
pants.
Grabbing some Oreos.
my argument would be like, oh, so I opened a portal and I stole 2 pints of milk, and you think if I had that fucking power, that's all I would do? Like, you're insane.
Also, how would the portal work? Would it? How did the Doctor Strange portals work? It seems like you can go anywhere, but surely you have to like. There's some limitation on. Do you have to like really think? Yeah, you have to really think about where you're going, don't you?
Yeah.
to
You have to have
visualize
been
it, I
there.
think, yeah.
Do you have to have been there?
No,
No.
no, it's like
No.
Nightcrawler. I think if he like knows the place or like knows what it looks like.
Yeah, but fair enough.
He's got to really think about it though.
Well, we've all been down the Tesco biscuit aisle. We can all nick it.
We know what we're doing.
Like a hobnobs.
It's annoying if you wanted to go somewhere on like holiday, you'd have to go somewhere you've already been, or you'd have to fly there, go on holiday, come back, and then
No.
go again.
Google
Look at a
images. Google
Yeah,
images.
just look at a
and there's-
picture of it.
Oh, yeah, I want to go there.
Go on there.
Well, no, because I assume he does all sorts of shit. So I'm like, he goes everywhere. So I don't think he does even really have to
Yeah,
know
but-
where he's
yeah, but-
going.
Yeah, but he's fictional, we're real. Come on, Jack.
Are we not given? Do we have more limitations than Doctor Strange because we're
Yeah.
real?
We've got portals, but we're real.
Every time I'd open a portal near someone, I'd do the thing in Endgame where he puts up like his finger to Tony Stark, and then I'd go through the portal. So then the other person's just like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die."
Yeah. What does that mean?
You could use it to like you could open the portal and you could poke someone on the shoulder and disappear. It would really freak them out.
So Reese
I think
Reese
You're
just
bringing
prank
that
people.
back.
I would just put.
I'd love-
I
yeah,
would
but think
find
about it,
my
like,
enemies.
There's no one else around. They just sat in the living room. Give them a tap on the shoulder. Scare shit of them. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, but if it's like
I-
someone you know, they'd be like, "Oh, it's reset his portals again."
I wouldn't
Yeah.
tell anyone. I wouldn't tell anyone I had that power.
I'd find
no.
my enemies,
'Cause everyone
and then
wanted
I'd
to do
wait
stuff
till they
for
were
me.
like.
Your enemies.
Yeah, I'd find my enemies and wait till they were like. I'd wait till the day where they were like, "There's something really important," and if like say they were running somewhere, I'd put a portal like in front of them, so they just run through it, and it would just take them 2 feet back, but I would just keep doing it.
Just they keep doing it.
So they're just like, "Oh my god, I'm not getting anywhere," and then eventually they'll just be so angry, and then
How
they'll
many-
miss
My
it.
only, my
like the birth of their
my-
child.
My biggest and oldest enemy is the man who used to work in Blockbuster, where I used to live, and he wouldn't let me rent 300 when I was 15. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't 15. It's fair enough. He was doing his job. I wasn't old enough to rent the film, but he's still my mortal enemy.
He's your biggest enemy because of that one time.
Who's
No,
mine?
it must have been like a year after 300 came out. So I was
Well,
only
if
like,
Well, if it's
11.
any consolation, he's definitely out of the job. He worked on
Yeah.
a blockbuster.
that was all my doing. I single-handedly took down Blockbuster.
If I can't have it, no one can.
Apart from I left that one store in America as a reminder.
And they talking about bringing it back. Wasn't that a news story not long ago? They want to bring back Blockbuster
I think
Well,
that'd
they
be a
bring it back
mistake.
as like a streaming thing.
as a
probably.
streaming site. I think it was. Yeah.
What's
No,
the point?
Blister.
There's too many already.
Yeah, they already have all my fucking money. I don't know what franchises they could offer me where I'd be like, oh, fine.
Would it be like you try and rent a film and it'd be like pop up on the screen? No, your dad says you're not renting that. We're watching Commando again.
Yeah. You read the same film like too many times. Like a little thing goes up. You okay? You rented Eat, Pray, Love for the 3rd time this month. You
I'm
okay?
having a bad month.
It's a good movie.
It's a very good movie.
With Julia Roberts. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know.
I thought we were going to get something really profound out of you then, Jack.
No, because I was really trying to think of that Julia Roberts movie, Mystic Pizza, but in my head I had Licorice Pizza. And then I was trying to distinguish them in my head. And then by the time I figured out which one I meant, I forgot what I was going to say about it. So it doesn't matter anymore.
Have you seen the film Slice with Chance the Rapper in it?
No.
No. Is it terrible?
Is that about pizza?
It is about
Stabbing
pizza.
people?
Yeah, it's like a pizza delivery guy, but there's like werewolves and it's like a horror comedy type. It's not actually that bad. It's pretty.
Is he credited as Chance the Rapper?
I think he is. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. You need to drop the moniker if you're going into the big business.
Yeah, Chance the pizza delivery man.
Yeah. Is his name Chancellor? Like Chance is short for Chancellor, isn't it? I think.
I have no
Chancey.
idea.
That's
If
ridiculous.
he's in movies, he should just call himself Chance the actor.
He's named after the Pokemon.
Chance the extra.
Chancey.
Big Chancey. What would like the British version of calling your son Chancellor be here? Governor.
Governor.
Lord.
Governor the Ombudsman. Imagine if that was how we named ourselves. It was just your name and then your profession.
It'd be like my right honourable friend.
Right honourable friend, the rapper.
That's quite good.
Reese, you got any more
That's a real
questions?
mouthful.
Oh God, I wasn't prepared.
You said you had a huge list. That was 2.
I do, yeah, but I'm looking through them for what.
You just wrote it really big.
But yeah, I was going to have pictures of it. It's just word art headers.
All right, this would be interesting because we've all worked at the same place. What are the unwritten rules of where you work? Because we've all worked in a cinema. I won't say which one, just in case.
Just in case we say something we shouldn't.
You never know.
What do you mean the unwritten rules of?
What do you fucking think I mean?
Yeah, but what of our profession specifically, or
Don't shit in a screen.
oh right, okay. Oh,
Don't punch your co-workers.
All right, okay, here's a more fun one. And this is one that we'll talk. How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
Fucking right. I
let's
reckon.
go.
One if it had
How
a good
big's
head
an
on his
elephant?
shoulders.
It depends if he's had any training.
Yeah, what
You might
kind
just
of,
get
what
one
kind of
smart
chicken is it?
pigeon.
Just one chicken chasing
Chicken.
around 20 Rockies around his garden. Chicken just chasing Sylvester Stallone.
yeah. If they're organised, then only
How big
only
is
a
an
few that can
elephant,
do anything.
generally?
How big is an
give them
elephant?
like a-
I'd say,
like a-
Generally.
I'd say about
like a Trojan horse situation.
yeah, I'd say about
If
20
if they can
chickens tall.
infiltrate.
20 chickens tall. Well,
Is that
realistically,
feet included?
Was that feet? Of course, it's feet.
Feet and beaks.
realistically, I think you could.
Why would the feet not be included?
Because
I think the chickens.
sometimes they
the
sit
chickens,
down.
18 chickens if they're all on tippy toes.
I think all you need is 10. I think all you need is 10 chickens because realistically, some of them are going to be fodder. If they all approach at pace, and they like dodge, duck, dip, dive the trunk, and then 2 of them just have to get enough air to gouge its eyes out, and then the rest of them like he can't see anymore, and then they're just going to break his spirit eventually and wear him down.
Could you just use like one and like choke it?
What?
Just like rammed it down the elephant's throat.
Oh,
No, I think-
they present
it's-
a sacrifice.
You know, one just flies in,
The sacrificial
kamikaze,
chick,
straight in.
the sacrificial hen. Is it the
Could give
chicken from Chicken Run?
They could give it bird flu.
I immediately started thinking of the chickens from Chicken Run.
No, they wouldn't do
Well, so
anything.
they're great. They can build machines.
They could do anything. They could build machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how many I think also the real question is how many chickens does it make to build an elephant killing machine?
And they're not just any chickens; they're Northern English chickens. They're tough.
Who plays the male chicken?
Isn't it
Mel Gibson.
Mel
Yeah,
Gibson.
it's Mel Gibson, isn't it?
An anti-Semite.
Yeah, he's the big.
Anti-Semite chicken.
Who knew?
He's the big cock.
I think. Well, how many chickens would it take to build a machine that could kill an elephant? Are they allowed to use weaponry, or is it just
I mean, yeah, I'll allow it.
mano a
I'll allow
mano, chico-y,
Elefanto.
chico elefantas?
I'm going to say 15 chickens.
No, I reckon you could do it in
15
less. All right. I think you're being wasteful.
Are these free ranged or
Oh, they can get
caged
it like
hens?
Nah, they're caged chickens. So they're a little bit
Yeah.
fucked up. You know what I mean?
They're
They're,
eight.
they're a bit.
Eight
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Eight.
Yeah.
they could lead
eight
it. They could
organised
lead it off a
chickens.
cliff, surely.
Yeah.
I'm assuming these chickens, if they're battered, they're like in a civil war when there's all those extra winter soldiers. I'm imagining like winter soldier chickens that they could like take down. They could take down a government
They're all
They've all got
nuts.
one. They've all got one metal wing.
wing. Yeah.
Just a little metal drumstick.
I'm going to be thinking about this for days if we don't
I'm
come to a conclusion.
I'm
Well, no.
probably
If they
gonna
were
lose
just
my fucking
if you were
mind
just your
thinking about
run-of-the-mill
this.
chickens, you need a lot of them to sort of, and they would.
Well,
You know,
what
we're-
I'd go to like a cockfighting ring because those chickens are,
Go on, choose a
What?
prize cock.
they're bred to fight. So you'd have to get a couple of them directly to an elephant.
To lead the rest of the group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get like three of them in front.
Come in, do some training for the rest of the
Yeah,
caged hens.
Yeah.
It's like
And then
in Anchorman.
then got a little
Anchorman
army.
2. In Anchorman 2, when he's just like when he takes his kid to a cockfight.
He's
And then
10 years
he's
old. He's old enough.
Yeah, he's like, he chose 8 winning cocks. It's never been done before. I'd get that boy and I'd take him to a cockfight.
Like, yeah.
And
Which
that,
one of
that
these do you think
actor
can
is
take
probably
down
about
Ellen?
is probably about 30 by now.
Movie didn't come out that long ago, Calvin.
He's probably in his 20s.
What? It came out in 2000 and Anchorman 2. Did you say?
Yeah.
Anchorman
Anchorman
2,
2,
yeah.
Oh,
He's
okay.
probably like 20. He was probably like 12 at the time.
I hated that movie when it first came out, and then I rewatched it the other week.
Oh,
This is so
it's-
fucking funny.
It's so
it's,
good.
It's terrible.
It's
Oh,
so
I-
funny.
I was
love
Zoolander-
those
in tears.
Anchorman movies.
Zoolander 2 as well. What garbage that is.
No,
Yeah.
the bit in
I brushed
The-
my
the-
teeth with a lobster.
I think if you watch the
Dorothy Mantooth was an incredible woman who remained sexually active until the day she died.
I forgot what I was going to say. 'Cause I'm thinking of Vince Vaughn. This always happens.
Some of Will Smith's best acting is in that film at the end of when they're doing that fight, and he's like got the radio and he's like 10, 9, and 9, smoke these fools. I repeat, smoke these fools. He calls it an airstrike.
It's when
think-
Liam Neeson turns into like a werewolf.
No,
Is he like a
Harrison Ford.
minotaur?
Harrison
He's
Ford.
like a-
Not Liam Neeson. Yeah.
and then the ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
I literally
I
can't remember any of this.
It's so good.
You
When
should
they all-
rewatch
He
it.
He comes out with like.
Oh
the
no, I
tray.
remember the whole thing with him being blind. I
Ah.
just hated. I didn't find it funny at all.
Oh man!
If
And
you
when he
watch the
comes out with the
bloopers,
tray
though,
of food,
the
it's, like,
bloopers when he's
buttons and like chalk.
Just plates.
aggressively when he's like in an attempt to masturbate, I aggressively rubbed my shin for 30 minutes.
No, I ejaculated a volume I have never seen.
It's like Vesuvius.
Yeah, and now I know what the villagers of Pompeii felt
Pompeii
like.
felt like.
It's like instead of hot ash and lava, it was hot frothy ejaculate. That film is so good.
This should just it's just turn it quoting Anchorman for half an hour.
It's so good. Like in the beginning when he just starts off him being chased by a shark.
No,
He tries to hang himself in his office.
yeah, that's the bit that killed me, was when it falls and the guy walks in. He's like, "What were you doing?" He's like, "I tried to kill myself
I try to hang myself.
because I'm lonely." Why are you asking it like a question?
I've been brought to believe it. Why are you posing it like a question?
Oh.
We need to move on from this because I could do this for hours.
I was going to say before we just start recapping the entirety of Anchorman 2, we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, let's rate this thing.
Let's
6.
which
It was sick. It was all sick.
it was all like yeah, so that was it for the first episode of our new podcast. Again, it is just going to be us shooting the shit, chatting whatever we want to. I imagine, we'll probably come up with some sort of rhythm to this within the next few weeks, next few episodes. But if you did enjoy this, then let us know. Any topics you want us to cover, let us know on Twitter at Keepin It Reel UK. We can start putting polls up and stuff, what people want us to talk about. That'll be fun, I think. And then, yeah, this is our first episode on video as well. So if you're ever wondering what we look like, then this is it.
Sorry to disappoint.
Sorry, Reese didn't dress up.
Still got his gym pads on.
Yeah. He ran home from training.
Yeah.
Sat there in his
I got my studs on.
So go to our Twitter at Keepin It Reel UK. From there, you can find all the links to all our streaming platforms. Please like, rate, follow, all that stuff. We usually review movies and TV. So I'm sure we're going to keep doing that anyway. So if you want to know our thoughts on any recent releases, then just go back through our catalog. Until the next episode, keep it real.